Hello and welcome back. We are going to keep up with our functions. When I last left off, I put the Don says on here. And really what that is doing is using essentially a default parameter. So like sometimes you know how you can leave some fields blank in a form and it automatically fills those in for you. Well, that's what we're doing here. If the user doesn't, or whoever's doing this, doesn't put in something for that third value, and these always have to be on the end. So try to get used to doing that. So the important ones that have to be filled out should be in the beginning, and then the ones that have default values towards the end. When you do that, now let me just put this in. And I can just do the same thing again. I could say, uh, in fact, let's just copy this just to see the difference. So before I did this, right? And then now I'm going to leave the just saying off. And this is also why you kind of mix around or mess around with this a little bit. So you know how we switched middle and word? Well, that was on purpose. That wasn't just being sloppy, because middle was essentially the arbitrary or the non-needed parameter that we can get by without. I think the book uses the example of what happens if you have a middle name and you're asking somebody for a middle name and they don't have it or they just don't want to give it. You know, you have a functional one where you can just put, not given or something like that. So let's go ahead and hit start again, and you'll be able to see the difference of the two. They both start off with hi, and they both end up with hello, but here the just saying gets replaced with Don says because we didn't put just saying in there. We just put in, but Don says was there, and it was available. And we could do that with more parameters as well if we want to. So once you start one, then just you can do as many as you want, and you don't have to put in many after that. Um, I'm going to add some of this also stuff up here. Because some of these questions came up in class. So one of the questions was, why do we even bother passing variables, since this variable doesn't exist in here, just the copy of it? Well, the answer is because we can update this just saying. So if I were to, and actually I'm going to do this, hopefully this will run. Nope, because I left that out. All right, let's just do that. So if I was going to do a third one, the just saying changes, and it's asking you what would you like to say. So here, just saying was explicitly saying just saying. Now just saying can be something gathered from the user, like I don't know. And when we hit enter, that goes into the variable just saying, and it gets put right back into the same exact one. And now, of course, just saying is explicitly set again. So when I hit enter, you'll say, hi, I don't know, hello. But we're not limited to one. Oh, we're not limited to just one function. We can actually add other ones. Now, if depends on how you work these, but many people will string a lot of functions together, and that's not a bad thing. So in other words, they let the main program work somewhere, and then they put the function somewhere. If you want to do that, um, there's two rules of thought. You can put them in as they show up in the program. So hello comes first, so you might want to put that first. The one I always liked is doing them in alphabetical order, because if you have 50 of these things and you want to find something relatively fast, it's better that they're in alphabetical order. So in here we went with GH, so goodbye actually becomes the first one. And now let's take a look at goodbye, because this one's going to be slightly new. And in fact, I'm going to hash this out or pound that out or sharp that out, and we'll just go straight to this. So the first thing you will see is that I'm going to now, instead of taking input for just saying, I'm going to grab input from goodbye. And so the reason why this looks so different, or hopefully it looks different, is that before we were saying hello, and that's all we're doing. We're just making a function call and running it. Now we're setting it equal to something. So in other words, this is on the left hand, or excuse me, the right hand side of an equal sign. Why? Now, why is that? Well, because we're doing something new, and that is the return. So this guy, that function, what it did was do its statements, its executions, and then it ends, and that's it. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to execute the program, and we are going to also send something back in terms of X back into the program. Now, to keep this a little simple, I think what I'm going to do is comment some of this stuff out. So I'm going to do the first hello. We should just get one, and then we're going to just say, just saying goodbye, and then hello again. And let's run this, because this one has a little bit of a unique output. So we do get our 3 lines. It says hi, just saying hello. That's our basic very first line. Then it says goodbye, and then bye hello. Now, why does it say goodbye? It's not because goodbye is here. It's actually because it is up here. So when you see this equal sign, it'll automatically execute that function, and we go up to that function, and it is right there. This time, as you can see, it takes no parameters, so we're not passing anything in, but we are passing something back, which is the X. So we say X is equal to bye, that string. And then that goodbye that we saw in the runtime was actually from this print, whereas, and actually let's put a couple spaces in here, whereas this bye gets passed back and gets set equal to just saying. So X is equal to bye, and now because it's coming out of the function as a return piece, just saying becomes the big BYE. So in the end, it also will get passed as this just saying. Okay, so let's go see the results. Hi, just saying hello. There's our typical one. Goodbye, that is actually printed out in the function. And then hi, bye, because that's the just saying. And then the words is still hello from up here. So a little tricky, but if you follow the path, you can get it. If you have any questions about that, I can always draw up a simpler video as well. I was playing around a lot with this just to kind of brain tease my on-campus students today. One thing I did comment out is different. Whenever you do a return statement, it should go somewhere else. So in the just saying part of it, we set it equal to that and then passed it back into the hello function. Here we're not setting the goodbye equal to anything, but we're printing it. because guess what comes out of goodbye, right? The big BYE. So now we should get a line that just says bye, and sure enough, that's what it does. So think of whenever you have a return, and that's all functions can do. They can only return one value. You can't return 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only one return. So you think of these functions that return something as actually variables, because that's what they become. They become the variable that they return. And in this case, it was, you could call it literal, but I wouldn't. But that would be a kind of just a good idea to kind of get used to it when you see them either in an equal sign or getting executed on, that this is actually going to be a single variable or a single value. Maybe value might be the best word to put it. And then that value is either going to get set equal to something or get pushed somewhere else. All right, we're going to have, well, at least one more function video, so join me back in just a little bit.